When most people think about Harbor Drive and Fort Street, they typically picture cruise ships and tourists. But there's a much older image attached to this area. Joining me to talk more about this month's Cayman Quiz Question on Fort George is Denise Bodden. She's the Historic Programs Manager at the National Trust. Denise, how long ago was Fort George constructed?
It was constructed in the late 1700s, approximately during the 1790s. It should have been constructed actually in the late 1600s because instructions had been given by the governor of Jamaica to raise fortifications on the island. But various things happened, and it didn't happen until a little over 100 years later. So at that point, it was really made a necessity to fend off Spanish marauders. We do know that an explosion was seen during the Second World War when Fort George was being used by the Home Guard. The wooden structure that you see on site is the old lookout house, which originally would have been on the opposite side of the fort in a very large silk cotton tree. There were 3 cannons at this site. One of the other fascinating details about the Fort George site, it is said that the proclamation emancipating slaves was actually read on this site back in May of 1835. I've had Caymanians say to me, well, where is Fort George? I'm like, well, it's at the top of Fort Street. And it's amazing how much as Caymanians we do take for granted and how much more that we can learn and appreciate about our own culture.
Thank you, Denise, for answering this month's Cayman Quiz Question about Fort George. Viewers at home, if you would like to learn more about your country's history, just log on to the National Trust website, www.nationaltrust.org.ky.